Hello everyone, welcome to Creative You Knitting and Crocheting Podcast. It's a 15-minute spot in your day and thank you so much for joining me. It's now dusk, the sun is starting to set and we have an awning over our back porch and it is flying all around because it's extremely windy today. It's the kind of day that when you open a door it just grabs out of your hand and flies anywhere. I once knew a man when I was a nurse that broke his hip in such a circumstance. He was getting in his car and the wind threw the door open and knocked him down. So this week, our theme is compliments that changed your life. I was reading up and a woman said that in her life, Murphy's Law was the rule. And she went on and on and on about this terrible, horrible day she had just trying to get a package to the post office. Just one thing after another. And then when she was in line, the cashier said she got out of line, and when she got back in line, it was twice as long. She said, bad day. The cashier looked at her and said, "You are gorgeous. Gorgeous eyes, you're gorgeous." She felt very disheveled, but it changed her day and it changed her. She never forgot that compliment. So this is the Gossypium cow. Look at my big blocking board. This has a woodland motif. It came from Ollie's. Normally when I order in blocking boards for people, they're only about 8 inches long. You get a pack of 4 for $30. Sometimes you can find these at stores like Five and Below. But these are actually to snap together and put on floors. Now, if you watch yesterday's podcast, you know that when I joined in the round, I got my stitches twisted. But I washed this. You want to make sure you use a wool wash. Roll it in a towel, get all the excess water out. And I am stretching it so that you can see the lace. If you have an object with ribbing, do not stretch your ribbing out because it won't go back. So I may have to do this part over. And what are these things? They are Knitting Pride knit blockers. They look like this. You can now get them in rainbow colors. You get big ones and small ones. This is the box. And if you ever want any, just contact me at creativeviewyarns@gmail.com. And then these are T-pins, and they're helpful too. You can also get blocking wire. So I could have fed a blocking wire straight across the top and bottom and secured it with T-pins. Either way, it works great. Blocking wires are great for shawls. So, don't be afraid to block. You don't have to block everything, but like a good compliment, it can be life-changing to your finished creation. So yesterday, I was working on the striped dress, and that's the Gossypium cow pattern. And this is out of 60 Quick Knits from America's Favorite Yarn Shops. And I wanted to see how this yarn self-stripes, and I'm very happy with it. I just wanted to let the yarn do its thing. In the meantime, I looked this yarn up on Ravelry and I found some really, really pretty things. This yarn is called Sun-Kissed in solid colors. It looks like a washed out, faded, like a color that's been faded from the sun. It's very pretty, but these are, let me see if I can pull these up. These are called the sun speckled colors. And of course, you're going to get different striping depending on the width of your project. Baby socks, you might get wider stripes. And isn't it funny? It kind of reminds you of the top I have on. So, to give you a little book summary while I'm doing this, I finished the book, The Secret Orphan by Glendis Peters. It is a good read. I mean, if you like an easygoing book, someone with a lot of fortitude and courage, you'll like this book. But having just finished books with lots of intrigue and clues, there were a lot of blind alleys in this book. Things that you thought were important that were never mentioned again. And that kind of bothered me. So it was still a nice read. I would still recommend it, but I had figured out what was wrong, and I kept waiting for our heroine to figure out what was wrong. I'm now on to a trilogy, and this is bad because I don't have the other two books, called Light of My Heart. And it's set in the late 1890s. And it's about a female doctor who cannot get patients. And so she finds about a town in Colorado where they want a female doctor. What I didn't realize is that back then, a lot of women did not want a male doctor to examine their private parts, as in childbirth. And so women would die before they would have a male doctor look at them. So she's falling in love with a guy that his wife died in childbirth and his child for that very reason. And she is an incredibly strong character. As a doctor myself, one of the things I'm attracted to is her relationship with God has made her so strong that she doesn't fall into the arms of a man who is trying to have a do-over with another woman and save her. She doesn't want to be saved. She has strong moral principles about saving the young girls who are in the brothel, no more than 14 and 15, and doesn't care that she's looked down on and that people are going to snub her. She's going to do what she needs to do. So I like the book a lot. She was a homeopathic doctor versus an allopathic, which are like today's doctors. The book says that the American Medical Association was set up because allopathic doctors were upset that the homeopathic doctors like her were charging patients very little. Her discipline believed that the body can heal itself, and they gave homeopathic medicines. The more I practiced, the more homeopathic I became. When you come down with a cold or a sickness, there's a reason why. Are you run down? Are you not getting enough sleep? And one of the things that she would give was Arnica, and she'd put them under the tongue. That's called sublingual. And I looked it up. You can buy that today. It helps for inflammation, redness, bruises. You can get it as a liquid. You can get it as pellets. So this is the top, made out of sun-kissed speckled, that I fell in love with. I thought it was really pretty. I like the gentle striping, and that's obviously in the white sands color, which I don't have, but I want to get in. And there was a crocheted shawl out of one of the colors, and there was one more project that really caught my eye. So, suffering from fibromyalgia, I definitely want to look up Arnica and buy some. It's not very expensive. It comes from a mountain daisy that you can only get in a specific area. So now this is just the plain solid color, and I don't know if that's a good representation of it or not. And they also mention other homeopathic things that I would like to check into. There's also some other things I'll bring up that I thought was interesting about the clothing that they wore. Now there's another top in the sun speckle, and I apologize, the sun is starting to set. So I think I better get on with it here, finish my podcast before you can barely see me. There was one more that I wanted to show. There's another really pretty top in the sun-kissed green, not the sparkle, just the solid. And so with the shop being shut, it's really nice to cuddle up with a good book. So there's a little girl's dress. Okay, so I thought I would show you some crocheting. Hope you can see it. This is a corner-to-corner blanket, and it is made out of 2 or 3 skeins of Bernat Baby Coordinates, which is an acrylic yarn. I had a lady yesterday, she is just getting back into crocheting, she just moved here, and she really doesn't know anything about yarns. And so here's one combining variegated colors with, isn't that gorgeous? So a good way to use up yarn, very, very pretty. So an acrylic blanket can be fuzzy. It is acrylic, it's synthetic. Acrylics are made with petroleum. One of the things I wonder when I wear an acrylic sweater, I can't sweat. I get clammy and icky. And did you ever walk in your baby's bedroom to get them up from a nap and they're all sticky and icky and sweaty? That's what kind of concerns me. This is a corner-to-corner done with Rae Cozy Soft, which is a 75% acrylic. So you can see, I think it does have some fuzziness, and 25% wool. It is now 5 years old. It's been in the shop 5 years old. It looks great. It has a warmth that the acrylic doesn't have. And the merino, you can actually sweat through it. So this sells for $8. So you're probably going to spend about twice as much on this blanket as this blanket. As far as the size goes, they're about the same. So $5.39 versus $8. This is a thinner yarn. And so I just wanted to show you that. And sometimes more expensive yarns are actually cheaper. Great Adirondack organic cotton is a perfect example. 328 yards for $14, whereas you can get these small skeins of cotton for $6, and you're only getting, say, 105 yards. So figure it out. So anyway, I hope you have a great day and keep your smile, and please write in and share some compliments that have changed your life. I shared one about somebody that said I had mousy brown hair and blah, blah, blah. And you know, I believe that. I have lost my red highlights because I'm getting gray, but God has you covered when you're in a relationship with Him. He promises to be your front guard, your rear guard, your side guards. And sometime later, I went to the beauty school to get my hair done. And the woman that was working on me said, "Ah, you have the most beautiful chestnut hair." And I said, "What?" "Oh, yeah," says it's just beautiful. She's fluffed my hair. I'm thinking, wait, she gets paid to say that. She asked the other girls, "Come here, look at her beautiful red highlights." And you know, when I met my husband, he said, "Oh, Catherine, your red highlights are just so beautiful." So this is not to puff me up. This is to say, if someone disses you, if they make you feel bad, please don't buy into it. Please don't pick that up and hug it close to you. Have like a protective bubble around you and let those things just bounce right off like darts. Don't believe them. Don't pick them up. You are God's child. You are a child of the King. With that, keep smiling. Shine, baby, shine.